Hi, thanks for watching. Just wanted to send over this quick video just to kind of show you how we can leverage internet search volume and then how SEO works both on the page and what's called off the page. So usually the best way to do that is a visual aid. So what I'm going to do is just did a quick search for business coach. And I'm going to take the top couple of listings and compare them to yours. So obviously Tony Robbins is going to come up first. That's no surprise there. And then I take the next actual business. So I take all three of those websites, including yours, and then I put them all into this tool that I use. And this is what shows me all the information that Google uses to determine your position in the search results. So just taking a quick look, you can see, based on these numbers, why these are outranking yours. But let me just quickly, briefly touch on what these numbers mean so we can see as we're making changes on the website, how it's going to affect your ranking and why we're doing it. So when Google is determining how to rank a website, it uses a lot of different factors, but it basically boils down into two categories. The first is what's called the authority or trust that it has in your site. And this basically is a popularity contest because this authority is gained when other domains or websites, they refer back to yours and then they create a link that's called a backlink. And this acts as an endorsement that Google uses to build trust because others are vouching for you. So to just give you a quick example, if say that the local news station did an article on their website and it said the top 10 best business coaches in the area. And in that article, the reader could click on a link and it would bring them to your website. That would be considered one backlink from one referring domain. Now, these backlinks can come from a lot of different forms: blogs, editorials, guest posts, press releases. One strong and important type is what's called a citation, and that's any time that your name, address, and phone number appear in an online directory. Those include Yelp, Yellow Pages, Better Business Bureau. The great thing about citations is they're usually always free. It just takes some time to find them, register your business, and then input the information exactly as it's shown in Google. So going back over this, obviously, Tony Robbins has been the name in the game forever. He's been around for a very long time. He's built up tons of backlinks. And what that does is it increases this number called your DR, which is your domain rating. This is on a scale of 1 to 100. So this is how strong and how trustworthy Google views your website based on the number of factors of other people linking back to you. Even this local coach, Dave Labowitz, he's still built up a decent amount of linking and created some authority for himself. Hence why he's obviously behind Tony Robbins, but still the first actual business on the list that isn't just you know associations and basically lists of coaches. Um, but there is one thing to note here is it's not just a matter of the sheer quantity of these links. Quality is a huge thing to do with it. A lot of people will try to outsource SEO. You definitely don't want anything linking back to you that's outside the United States. You also want to try to get things and links that are relevant to your, your business and your niche. So if we're linking back to like Pizza Hut, Google obviously knows is that you're not slinging pizzas, you're a business coach. So that just doesn't make any sense. And no matter how much trust that other website has, it's not going to transfer any through the link to you because it's not relevant to you. So we just need to make sure that we're in this. It's called the same topicals. There's similar fields. With you, it could be anything to do with any kind of business, coaching and things like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be just business coach. There are a lot of areas that would still be considered in the same genre as coaching and things like that. The second category that things fall into, which is becoming more and more important as of late with all the updates from Google, is the content on the page. Google is really trying to push websites with what's called high quality content. So right now, these are the three words that you're being found for, and it's basically your branding, which makes sense because if people are searching directly for your business, it should come up on there. Let me just use one of these as an example. So small business coach, that's being searched 700 times a month. If your website was ranking on the first page for this, it's basically 700 people on average would be seeing your website every month. Now, Google Analytics estimates that up to 10% of total search volume can convert to a lead when you're on page 1. So you're looking at a potential of 70 leads coming in. Obviously, you're not going to land every single one of those clients, and the profit margin, the cost varies between them. But you can just see how the sheer volume of potential leads coming in can definitely add up to some revenue at the end of the month and at the end of the year. And that's just off one keyword phrase. So then we do that, repeat that same process with all the high volume keyword phrases so you can get plenty of exposure and plenty of potential new leads coming in. However, there is a formula that Google uses to find these keywords on your site. So if we take a look here, I think the site visually looks great. We've got great contrasting colors. It's very easy to read. Great use of white space, so that it's easy to really navigate and see everything. The problem is just the amount of content on the page. So Google as a computer doesn't care about layout at all. The first thing it's going to do is just going to come in and count all the words on the page. Usually we recommend about 1,000 to 1,500 words on a homepage, only because the more information that you have on the page, the more you look like an expert in that field and the more likely Google is to recommend you. Now, while it's counting the words, it's also searching for those keywords. So this is where the number of words on the page, however, really comes into play, because you can really only qualify for one keyword for about every 100 words of text on the page. The reason being is Google penalizes sites for what's called keyword stuffing. You can't just list out all your services and have Google pick them up. Any kind of keyword that you find, we need to basically back up with some text. Like I said, generally a couple of paragraphs, about 100 words. So that way Google can see that we're offering some kind of high quality content. If you're selling a product or a service, you want to describe that product. If you're answering a question, you want to have a good answer, and you can't have anything copy and pasted. It has to be genuinely new, high quality content. So the more keywords that you want to be found for would just be the more content that we need to add to the page. And yes, some of these keywords are coming up as pictures, so we want to make sure that they're definitely into sections. There's a whole deeper design aspect of how Google finds keywords. So there's what's called headings. There are different tags, H1 through H6, to show the importance of the heading, and then it would be keywords in the actual body and paragraph texting. There's a hierarchy of how we build out and structure the page. So there's a lot of things that go into what's called on-page optimization. Also, I didn't check the images. Yes, so images, Google can't understand what an image is by looking at it. It just reads the information that's embedded into it. So you want to have what's called alt image tagging. So that way the name of the picture is describing the picture itself, maybe a keyword even, and then maybe your business name or some branding. So that way Google can understand that. Now, if we go back to the search results, normally the first thing that's on top is these sponsored ads, which is pay-per-click. Sometimes they switch them around, but these basically it is called cost per click or pay-per-click, because every time somebody clicks on this, whether they're calling you or become a client or not, it's costing you money. Google determines what the cost of that click is depending on how much competition is in here. This can get rather costly. This section is the map pack. This is great for local traffic. Obviously, you're not going to rank in this map section if somebody's searching from Texas, but if somebody is in the tri-state area, you can definitely rank in this. This, however, is your Google business profile, totally separate from the website, but there are definitely ways to optimize this to get into this top 3, because this is a great way to drive local traffic. A lot of search volume will land right here because it's just on the top of the page, or even if it's under the ads, it's still pretty much at the top of the page. And then they know they're working with somebody local, which is great if you're trying to drive that local business. However, underneath that, this is where we start what's called the organic search results. So this is where the more authority or trust that Google has in your site, the higher up on the list you're going to rank. So this is where getting more of those links or referrals from other websites helps you climb and outrank the competition. However, that's after the page itself on page is fully optimized with the proper amount of content, the keywording, and the proper structure in order to capture all that search volume. So I know this was a lot. It was just kind of like a brief little rundown. We can go into a little bit further detail on exactly, what the goals are, what you're trying to attract, where you're trying to attract it. I mean, we can determine what kind of layout and what kind of keyword structure we need. I can do some research on the volume and see what we have out there, and then we can talk about what kind of changes need to be made. So feel free to contact me after you watch this, and we'll talk about next steps. Thank you.